Hey, Lolo here. I just wanted to let you all know that due to some technical difficulties we had recording this episode, it might sound a little funky just because we had a whole lot of technical issues and I had to use a backup recording, which didn't seem to record at the highest quality, but it should be definitely listenable. But it might sound just a smidge weird. Also, got a new microphone, which you're probably hearing right now, and I'm still tuning it, but I think I got it mostly good now. So on we go. This week on Media Delta, Slayers Part 2. Conclusion: will Slayers reach Mastercraft? Well, listen and find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Media Delta. We are continuing off where we left off 2 weeks ago, because we were talking about the Slayers, particularly Season 1 of the Slayers, which is just called the Slayers. We watched in the first half, we watched the odd episodes so that we didn't have to cram a whole bunch in a short period of time. This time we're doing the same with the second half, except we're doing the even episodes instead. So just to kind of get you clarified, if you have not listened to the first episode of us talking about Slayers, you probably should do that before you listen to this one. Because we're going to be talking about stuff that doesn't make sense if you have not seen the first half. That being said, yeah. I was not the only one to watch this, so please introduce yourselves.
Bang! Axe returns for more opinions.
I who stand bathed in the heavenly lights. It's Donut.
I am Norman Rafferty, and justice will prevail.
Hi, I'm Torpid Typist, and I'm here for trash new characters.
Trash.
Yeah. So we're just gonna kind of go, because we spoke a lot on the first episode about how much we kind of enjoyed this and kind of what our thoughts on basically the general plot, or the general, feeling and tone of the Slayers. So we're just going to kind of feel what our closing thoughts are on this first season. Axe, what did you think about this first season of Slayers?
So, as I said in the last episode, I kind of went into this going with I didn't have high expectations going in. It's an old anime, and for me, anime is kind of hit and miss. So this didn't have a whole lot to live up to, and I feel like it's exceeded that in a lot of ways, despite some misgivings, particularly with the voice cast being very spotty. I enjoyed the characters a lot. I enjoyed the plots. The plots for the most part were interesting. I particularly enjoyed the acting episode. I kind of thought that was a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. But it's interesting. So kind of reiterating points previously, the animation's actually pretty good. Throughout it's consistent throughout the whole season, which we didn't get from Pirates of Darkwater, for the obvious reasons. And there's the funny thing that I noticed about the entire series as a whole is the villains aren't all that threatening. They're kind of soft. They don't really exist other than to just kind of further the plot, really. I know that Rezo's original goal was to get his eyesight back so he could fight the Shabba-Dabba-Doo, the Demon Lord. I was sorry, I was talking so long I thought everybody crapped out on me for a second there.
No.
No. Yeah. So just to point out, for just a little bit behind the curtain, we're having hell of a night of tech issues. So
I thought that because I have spotty internet to begin with, so sometimes I'll just cut it out. Okay.
Yep, we're good. Because I also was slightly worried.
It's like, oh shit, am I talking to myself?
And yeah, like Rezo originally even had this whole ritual set up to actually defeat Shibble Dibble, who is, I might add, more like a force of nature than an actual villain.
Yeah, even Shabba-Nikto isn't threatening, and he's supposed to
Got
be
it. You said his name.
I did. even he's not that threatening, even though he's supposed to be like the villain. It's just everybody just kind of seems to be there plot reasons, and nobody really does much. The voice acting is still hit and miss. I mean, Lena's voice actress is still fantastic. Gowry is Brock. That's who that character is. That's that voice actor doing the Brock voice.
Lon Brock.
Big hembo energy.
Just very dumb. Just like super dumb.
Dumb but a heart of gold.
Purest
great.
himbo.
It's great because as the series goes on, you kind of see both Gowry and Amelia sort of take on characteristics of Lena, and just like her gremlin energy is so pure, it just starts rubbing off on everybody around her. Like
a virus.
in one of the first episodes, you see her and Gowry fighting over a cooked chicken. Amelia starts to kind of think a lot more like Lena as the series goes on, and even gets mentioned at one point.
God, it's really good though, because the chicken situation was also literally entirely Amelia's fault, because Amelia's a hot fucking mess.
Yeah, she jumps off a cliff to beat some bandits and ends up breaking all the food. All the food.
And a note on that, there's some instances in animation where, like, previously, obviously, they looked like themselves, but, like, when Lena gets real, like, super gremlin energy, and she gets those, like, dark outlines and, like, scary face, you'll start to see, like, Gowry do the same thing in situations. And you're like, oh, shit. I see where this is going. Everybody's just feeding off of energy, and it's wonderful.
Also, another thing I will say about the animation is I still disagree that it's great. Like, I have seen a number of issues and errors.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite is the time the light from Gowry's sword tries to escape it.
It tried so hard to leave the blade. It's like you were saying. I don't know if it's something with, the transition from being so old to now, but like audio dip outs, animation frames dropped. It gets weird.
Okay. The one thing I do want to, because I forgot to, I was going to go check. The one thing I will say, and I think this is a Funimation's fault, because
it is Funimation's fault. Yeah, some of those recordings are scuffed as hell.
Yeah.
Lost the time, man.
Like, sub VHS quality recording on that.
It was one in particular that was really bad about it, but yeah. It was pretty scuffed.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's worn. It's an old anime, and
it's a worn.
Right.
So I it's one of those things. Like, it's an old anime, but also probably their archives weren't amazingly kept because they never thought they need to put it on a fucking internet.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, in spite of all that, in spite of because I don't recall saying it was great. I don't think I did. We can always rewind the tapes and double check. But
I'll say it ain't no charge, man.
It's better than I expected. Is basically what I'm getting at. All of Slayers is better than what I was expecting, and that wasn't a very high bar to clear, but it still was a pleasant surprise for me. Like I remember in the previous episode I mentioned that I kind of wish we hadn't done the evens thing and would have just watched them in order, but that speaks to how good the show is that in spite of its own issues, it's very watchable, and watchable enough that you want to see the whole thing.
Right. And I'm glad you say that. That's like perfect for me to jump off on, because that's really what I took away from all this. Is I went in expecting nothing, and I came out like just loving Lena, loving the show, loving the direction it went. And I'm just really impressed with how well it's aged, and to just see where all these tropes came from. Just the root of it all. It's like I look at Gowry and I go back to Tales of Destiny. I'm like, that's done. They literally just ripped off Gowry, and that's fine.
It also helps that they are taking the piss on a lot of those like common tropes.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good fourth wall breaking moments, like help me remember Chimera Boy when he's like, "Yo, listen." Yeah, Zelgatus. When at one point he's like, no, this is what's supposed to happen. We just need to keep on moving on with the episode. Shut up, Amelia.
Yeah, literally.
Or I forget
Yeah, like literally saying, "Yeah, we can." Like Lena's gonna be okay. That's just how the episode flows.
Like she's the main character. She's not gonna die, dog. It's okay.
Plot armor.
But also it's like there was also not just with Lena, but with Sylphie, the new character. Both of them fucking have an existential crisis when they see Amelia's dad.
hmm Which is fair. Which is fair. You would not expect that man to be a prince, but he
Yeah,
is.
no, I deeply appreciate something actually showing nobility is not pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Billy
Realistic.
was notably not pretty.
Inbred as shit.
Mm.
Let me tell you about the Habsburg jaw.
Family tree is just a straight line going up.
But yeah, I'm very impressed with the quality of this anime in this day and age. It's like I'm kind of with Axe on the fact that it's like a lot of anime are hit and miss with me. Though I consume a lot of anime via like games and media in general, it's really rare for me to like just sit down and watch an anime. I think the last one I sat down and watched in full was Carol and Tuesday, which was
Fantastic
basically
anime.
so good. Which that's Watanabe, so
Also, in spite of its misgivings, which
Mhm.
we could do an entire episode on.
true. But yeah, with Slayers, and all the changes were really great. The voice changes were great for Rizzo, for Zelgadis. It really improved the quality. But what really my big takeaway from it is I didn't expect to come out thinking Lena was the baddest bitch of all time. Like that's just her title. That's just who she is, and I appreciate that, and I stand for her.
Well, second, we haven't met her sister yet.
Even
You
if
will
her sister
never
comes
meet
in,
Luna.
even if she came in, I'd be like, listen, Luna, I get that you're scary and bad, but like, this is my homie. This is my home slice. I've got
But
like
it's
mad Sailor
home
Moon love for her
slice?
now.
Holy
Home slice.
shit.
Lena would
Holy
be
shit!
a pure home slice. Would hang out,
slice.
would chill. She's proved it through all these episodes, and that's highest regard.
I haven't heard that since the fucking 90s.
Donut
Well,
boomer.
I mean,
Bringing
it
it
is
back.
the Slayer, so it's fitting.
Exactly.
But,
Bringing it back.
yeah, it's good. I fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Your fucking donut boomer shit. Fucking, but yeah.
Maybe,
Awesome
man.
sauce. It was real awesome sauce, guys.
I mean,
Listen,
it's
that's
good.
2000s. I'm a 91 baby. Let's
It was
respect.
sick as hell. It was
It's
totally
it's
rad.
it's all good.
It was rad.
Totally tubular.
Yes.
I would buy Pogs with Lena's face on it.
See, I hate the fact that modern usage of that word just put a different image in my head.
Yeah, just collect.
Oh no! Oh god!
I collected poggers when I was a kid.
I love the
Lena,
idea.
you
I
were
love the
ultimate
idea.
Pog champ.
I love Pogchamp Lena though.
Is she not? I'll accept that word if it
Fucking
means we're talking about
Pogchamp
Lena.
shit. So often just like instills this fight or flight instinct in me, and I don't know why.
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of hard pressed to say anything about this anime that doesn't make me feel really, really old.
Just join in. At this point, you're fucking turning to dust. So
It's true.
It's definitely from the paint and the practical paint and trace era, where
Oh,
it's
100%.
before color correction. It's before puppeteering. So it's like it's for the modern era where everybody has the exact same face, but the doll and the lace outfits, and I think it was Axe who pointed out, like, there's actual direction going on here where, yeah, you mentioned that, like, after a while they'll start to make Gallery and Lena start to make the same faces and the sort of same expressions. So yeah, there's character building. There's a lot of care that went into presenting this show. It's not like one of those dead-eyed, anime shows, where they're just padding out episodes or going through the motions. There's a lot of love in Slayers, and the bar stays high consistently throughout the first three, like, series.
It really does. It's like Lolo, you kept saying that it reminded you of like the quality was like TurboGrafx.
Yeah, that was.
And I feel the same way. Like it's like there's so many high points that like all the little lows, any audio issues, maybe a flat voice every now and then. What's her name? What's Purple Girl with her weird wispy voice?
Sylphia.
Sylphia. Yeah, she sounds like Amy in Sailor Moon Abridged, and it's
Her
weird.
deliveries are fucking terrible.
No
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
way, Lena, don't get shot. Oh, no, you
her voice in
didn't.
particular is what really put the TurboGrafx comparison in my head, because it sounded like
God, yes.
that level. It's the weird level of like, okay, you have some competent people in there, but then you have some maybe not as seasoned actors trying to find a charitable way to phrase it.
Uh,
Yeah.
I do want to add on to what Rafferty said though, is like, so this is coming from my knowledge of having seen the rest of the animes. In the series as a whole does a lot of really good work with like the main characters growing and rubbing off on each other, particularly Lena and Gowry over the course of the series, and it's really good.
I really
A lot
like
of it's
Lena
pretty
Gowry.
subtle, but it's very well done. But yeah.
I mean, after coming from a lot of boys anime like Yu Yu Hakusho and Tenchi Muyo, and a lot of the other ones, where you see a lot of those shows where there's some sort of boy character and or some hero, and everyone talks about how it's important that they prevail. Slayer's like the opposite of that, where these are the heroes and they just show up and they declare themselves the good guys, and sometimes they make stuff worse. Usually they make stuff better. Everything is kind of comical and the stakes aren't that high. Like you mentioned, the villains aren't, so reprehensible that it ruins the comedic tone. It's like they're bad guys, but like good old Rizzo just wanted his sight back. He didn't know it was going to unleash untold evil.
Yeah, and then Rezo too just wanted to prove that he wasn't just a clone.
Right. So they've got motivations you can get by. So there's not a lot of that destiny, fate, Campbellian entitlement. It's like it's got a very positive message, and that stays through the whole thing. Justice will prevail, and I love that.
So
Right.
the other thing too is just jumping off of what you said, like a lot of fucking main characters in a lot of like fantasy stuff, isekai, whatever. The main characters have zero personality whatsoever because they're meant to be like a self-insert, and then they have all these girls with a single personality trait.
Mhm.
This cast has none of that. They're all like a lot better written and fleshed out. And also the other thing too is it's like they're not just good for the sake of good. Like in Lena's case, it's she's good to get so she can get money, but also she saves the world because she doesn't want it gone, not because it's for the greater good.
Because money would be gone.
Exactly. Like she just doesn't
She's a
want to
gremlin.
die. It's actually very simple.
I'm not sure. I think both of those are true. I think there's going back to the previous season when there's the episode in the bar where everybody thinks that she's selling them out, but she decides to come along with them anyway to go fight
Yeah,
Rezo.
because it'd be the shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So they are drawn with a broad brush, but like I said, it's made clear that they're good guys.
Yeah, and they always do right by their own too.
She reminds me.
Despite a lot of the no, go ahead.
Oh no, my bad. I was just saying, just to harken back, just with the character growth, I love how it adheres to this like classic four-party JRPG trope. And with Lena, I know I've said it a million times, but she reminds me a lot of specifically like the biggest, baddest of mages in like Tales, like old Jay Curtis, where he's got his own shit going on. He's got his own shit going on. He could kill you in a moment, but like he's chill and he's gonna help you. And he's not gonna screw you over. And that just makes the entire adventure. It's more about watching them grow than whatever's going on. Like, screw Shebernigdo. Who cares about what's going on with him? But watching Lena grow and everybody grow around her, it's so fun to watch.
And the characters play off of each other really nicely. Bringing up again the fact that over the course of the series, they each take on personality traits of the other and just sort of rub off on each other. And in fact, in a lot of stuff that I've seen from that era, you don't really get that very often. It's a lot of one note kind of stuff. Bringing up Yu Yu Hakusho, or not Yu Yu Hakusho.
Tenchi Muyo.
I actually like Tenchi Muyo. I actually like Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't know why I got those two mixed up.
Yeah,
Because
they
Tenchi
love
sound
Yu
a
Yu
bit
Hakusho.
similar. They're
Tenchi
both
Muyo's
boring.
got-
It's whatever.
I like Yu Yu Hakusho for just being super dumb, but
Yeah, I only like
Forward
certain
to the
seasons.
live
of
action
Yu-Gi-Oh!
man. Yeah, look forward to the live action.
Yeah, no,
series.
I think I would also agree. But Yu Yu Hakusho also did a tournament arc. Slayers does not do a tournament arc.
Thank God.
yeah, 'cause
I
I don't
hate
need
tournament
another,
arcs.
I don't need another tournament. DBZ filled me up to completion on tournament arcs. I don't need them in anything else
Man.
ever again.
It's a completely different show, but now I just remembered that Dragon Half had 2 episodes, one of which was a tournament arc. And I don't know how you get a tournament arc in a 2-episode anime.
Geez, that's when you just have no ideas.
Yeah, so that's the other thing too, is like a lot of these sort of episodes just serve to like expand on the world and all that in like meaningful ways. And I will say the world gets a lot more interesting in terms of like background and things that go on in the later seasons as they're able to expand upon it more. Whereas at the moment it seems fairly standard.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It feels like it's got like the depth of like One Piece in terms of like world building. If they really wanted to like go that route.
It goes a lot more in depth. There's definitely hints of it here in this first season, but like later seasons definitely go a lot harder into it.
Like I would interject, like I think a problem is that world building, like in anime and well everything right now, often lore is considered so incredibly important. And what makes Slayers so much fun to watch is that you get the impression that the writers know what they want the story to be about, but the lore doesn't get in the way of the story. The story is about characters.
Exactly.
And so characters show up and characters do things, and they stay driven to that. There's not a lot of huge expo dumps. And also, one of the great things is one of the parts of the humor is there's so many bottle episodes where Lena shows up, doesn't know what's going on, and then does something stupid. Like I forget, was the blowing up the mountain one in the second or the first?
Might be both, honestly.
Well, I just remember she shows up and the people are sad they have to keep crossing this mountain, so she blows it up. And oh no, this was an entire graveyard of horrible ghosts. You've released all of them. What were you thinking? And that's like typical of these kinds of stories of like, we learned something about the lore and we got a big episode out of that.
Oh yeah, no. Like, so when I say it expands upon the world, it's not like it just does it for the sake of doing it. It's always relevant to what's going on in the plot at hand. But I do think it gets more interesting as it sort of fleshes itself out as things go on. But yeah.
Yeah.
I really like this show. I'm going to probably play Tales immediately after this recording. The same way I've done every time we've watched Slayers.
Finally, Donut's turn is over, and it's time for D-Dex.
I was gonna say, I think we've at this point just kind of swapped. We just kind of all took our turns at once.
So I was gonna say I do want to talk about the elephant in the room though, and that's Sylphiel, who fucking sucks so bad.
Rafferty, your voice has changed. You're starting to sound more slimy.
Yeah, I tried to slide. I tried to like sing into Rafferty's part real
I thought it was
smooth,
Torpid
but
who hates everything. Torpid hates everything. I love this show.
And I do too.
Madness.
I just dislike Sylphiel, who sucks.
because she sucks. She sucks.
The time
It's
she got
okay.
me almost killed.
It's like the video says. It's okay to not be good sometimes, girl. You can't be good all the time. And that's her. That's Sylphield.
Rafferty, what were your thoughts on
Hi.
Please give us your thoughts.
Please, at some point this century. Before
No,
one of these
okay.
clown asses talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I just interjected a few times or whatever, so I mean, pretty much I agree with everything everybody's been saying.
All right. Any other specific things you want to bring up?
Yeah, so just to clarify, like, Sylphiel is like a weird character because she's one of those characters that tries way too hard to be good and sucks at it really bad. But also everyone listens to her for some reason. And also her voice acting is fucking atrocious. Basically, Sylphiel is the daughter of a big priest dude. Also claims she's going to marry Gowry or some shit like that. And so she's like kinda just sort of not great from the second you meet her. And she only gets worse because she constantly harps on Lena. In particular with things like the Giga Slave, which yes has the power to end the world, but also, girl, you got her fucking killed because of that shit. Because at one point, Lena goes to cast the Giga Slave to murder not Rezo. And then Sylphiel fucking jumps in as she's fucking doing this incredibly hard to control spell, going, no, you can't use the Giga Slave! And then Lena goes to protect her and gets fucking shot. And it's the worst. She just sucks so bad.
And her voice acting's terrible.
Yes.
Which is kind of why she
But-
stopped being a member of the main cast.
Right, but you hate her as a character, but do you think, like, as to motivate the plot, she's a good foil? I mean, they do get rid of her. So she's a good foil to the other characters and good for story.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, she also serves to teach Lena that, hey, there's more methods than just the Giga Slave.
A lot of people have the Giga Slave. I was playing
Except
Dario
that
shit
she's still,
earlier, and somebody had it.
I was saying, except she still uses it anyway later on.
Yeah,
Lesson learned.
I thought that she used it early on, but it actually just was a dragon slave that sounded like she was using the Giga Slave. When she was fighting, I forgot what the guy's name, in the waterfall. When it was in the chicken episode.
Yeah, she uses Dragon Slave during that encounter,
Yeah.
and it blows up the entire area
Yeah.
because it's a really powerful spell.
Uh-huh.
It really is.
I still love that it's only called Dragon Slave because over the years the name was distorted enough from Slayer and just turned into Slave. Because when I first watched it, I was trying to figure out why they would call it Dragon Slave. It just sounded like a really doofy
Weird name. Yeah.
doofy way to name it.
If I recall correctly, that's a joke because in the original manga, it was called Dragon Slave due to a translation error.
Yeah, that seems like a thing where it's like, oh, yeah, we're just going to call it this. And it's like, oh, wait, we translated, alliterated it into English. Weird.
Yeah, and
I
that's
do
why.
like.
Oh my bad. I was saying, just that's why when I started to notice like how prevalent Lena was because I was playing, old RPGs and somebody did a not Dragon Slave but a Dragon Stream, but the voice actor still like did a whole like Dragon Stream, and I was like, what? Why? What the hell? Why is this everywhere?
Yeah, no, it's this is actually very, very influential. But yeah, no, I do like the idea of just a giant game of telephone with an incredibly rare spell.
What I also love is just like they have their obvious anime call out attacks. But sometimes Lena will do a spell that takes for fucking ever because it's a long list of words. Just like it's a whole paragraph.
Big incantation, yeah.
Yeah, it's great because everybody around her actually reacts to it being happening. It's not like Sailor Moon where everybody just lets them do it.
What we talking about Sailor Moon? It's because they're
Yeah.
pretty and they're wonderful, and you can't stop somebody during an attack animation. That's against the rules.
No, it's actually really good because there's a bunch of fucking times where people just start fucking with her to keep her from doing the spells.
Yeah. Or they recognize they're in serious fucking danger and just start booking it.
Yeah.
True.
But I appreciate that, that sort of lack of iframes, as it were, that
Well,
they have.
I think that's part of the RPG influence, like the idea that if you were in an action RPG or whatever, it would take this long to cast the spell, so people would react to it, which I think is kind of fun, especially like you'll see a whole bunch of anime after that won't do that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of fun.
Before and after, really.
You kind of every time they did a long incantation, it just reminds me of like any short incantation, like just the comedic ways. And I kind of hope that they do that later in the series if I keep watching it. That Lena will take some shit from Tails and be like, "Well, this is too long of a name. I'm just going to cast it."
Also,
Explosion.
like, yeah, to be fair, like the callouts for the moves make sense because they're literally just all spells,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which have a vocal part to them.
I love spell incantations. I love long nonsense spell incantations that make no sense.
Goofier
sort
and
of,
edgier they are, the better.
This
To blur
anime is
together
full
for
of
me.
them.
Was it in this series where Lena traps an entire house by casting Freeze Arrow repeatedly to cover all the windows? Was that in this one?
I don't think so.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that's cool as fuck.
Because it's an incantation, what's hilarious is she has to cast a spell like 20 or 30 times. So she shouts Freeze Arrow every single time she does it. And it just goes on forever. Okay, so I apologize if that wasn't in this one.
it's still hilarious though that she does it. That's the other thing is like Lena is very good with using her spells. Like they're all pretty solid with what they do. Even the idiots, like even Gowry and Amelia, still are savvy enough.
I mean, Amelia does get her punches in. She's just really shitty at things. Like, going back to the bandit episode with the chicken, she still beats up all of the bandits, just also at the same time beats up Lena and Gowry at the same time.
Also, she's shown to be a very skilled caster, and also can pick up on things pretty quickly if need be.
Yeah,
Sword of Light.
She only looks bad compared to our heroes.
Yeah.
Not just that she looks bad, she's a klutz. That's really what there is to it.
Yeah.
And she's a bit naive.
Lena blows up entire cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But
I
yeah,
think that was,
like
the
Amelia
first episode.
is naive, not an idiot.
yeah, and I like how the show like really takes the time to show how competent they are. Like in the last few episodes where Amelia was like, "Oh shit, we can just cast this spell at Gowry Sword because you, Zelgoddess, are also a badass mage." And he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot. You're right. We're all competent. Let's go get this done." And for a moment, you're like, "They might actually do this," but then you remember it's Lena's show. But still, usually
Except they
side
did have
characters
an
don't flex.
effect. They did fuck with him.
They did. They fucked with him, and like you usually don't see side characters flex that hard in anime these days. It's like they are there just to serve the purpose of showing off the main character. But no, these three are competent on their own. The prince is competent on his own. Leave Sophia alone, and then Lena is just a whole party in and of herself. But it's just cool. I really love all the attention all the characters get.
I also appreciate that even though Lena is built up to be the ultimate badass mage, aside from her sister, it's never leaned on. She's allowed to be faulty. She's allowed to fail. She's allowed to be a part of the regular cast. She never feels like she's overpowered, despite the fact she's pretty goddamn overpowered.
Well, right?
Yeah, it's because of like her access to very powerful magic, but also she still relies on the others. Like at the end of the arc we saw this season, this series of episodes, where she literally used everyone's help to finally defeat him because everyone played their part. And it's also like she can't use shamanist magic, which is what Zelgoddess primarily uses, and Amelia to a lesser extent.
It's just it's nice to see that all the characters get their own chance to shine, and they never feel like they're being outshone by Lena, despite her being the main character and being the most powerful mage to have ever lived.
Mm-hmm. Also, her sister is a sort of different class of being than Lena, because her sister is essentially like kind of like the chosen one. It's weird.
Chosen one.
Well, she never shows up. That's part of the joke.
Yeah, that's part of the joke, is that Lena is terrified of her, and there are always these allusions to her, but she never shows up and never actually matters.
And that does so much for world building, just knowing that like Lena's over here doing all this shit, and in the back of your mind there's always like, but what's Luna doing? Like she's got to be doing some crazy stuff.
And I think that goes to the bigger metaphor of the show, which is you do right when you need to do right when you see it. It's like Lena is the hero in the right place at the right time. And that's the repeated message. It's like, well, we're here now and these people are in trouble, so let's go help them. It's not, you keep joking about, well, what about Luna? Yes, there are more powerful people than us doing bigger, badder adventures than us. But we're here right now and this is going on right now, so that's what we're going to deal with.
Exactly. That's kind of world building. Really impressive to see in like a show this
which is, especially because anime and, well, let's face it, the RPG games will always start to emphasize, no, you're the destined one. Only you
always.
You must do the Campbellian turn down the call to power and then come back and do all of this, for it is written and foretold. Like, none of that crap is in here. Exactly. I love it.
It's just a bunch of people fumbling their way through their own lives, and it just so happens that fumbling happens to serve the greater good.
Well, this is kind of... Oh, go ahead.
We'll go back to the characters really quick. Is that, yes, also all the character designs are very unique. You can tell them at a glance and who they are. And it's nice not having your stereotypical black-haired, brown-eyed Asian boy as the main character.
Here I am, Isekai Johnson.
Look at my sick bowl cut or my slightly spiky hair. Hi.
Right, and then even then, you only get like Subaru in terms of like maybe some emotional depth. Bless that boy's heart.
But yeah, so like everyone's like bright and colorful. They all have their like unique designs, and it's actually very nice.
everyone's allowed to emote. I always have to emphasize
Yes.
that. Like
Mhm.
everyone is allowed to strike a pose and do a goofy face.
From Sylphie to the Prince to Lena to Rezo, everybody gets their moment.
I mean, Zelgadis is the least expressive, but he still does it, and they stick to that.
He's the least expressive at first, but like as like even just the season goes on and he gets more used to the cast, he actually sort of like opens up and starts acting like expressing himself more.
It's really
And it also
wonderful.
helps when they change voice actors.
It does.
Yeah, Christmas Jr. makes a little difference.
Quaalude ass motherfucker in the first half of the season.
We can't have two Sylphies in this party. Mm-mm. So I'm glad they changed that up.
Well, I don't think it was a conscious choice. This is like, still the Wild West era of anime where it's whoever showed up and is acting under an alias so they don't lose their SAG card.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there was Amelia. Everyone forgets that Amelia's voice changed after like 3 episodes.
That's because her voice was basically competent to begin with, so no one noticed. It wasn't like, wow, this voice actor could use a little bit more training to, oh, this actor is competent. Also, it sounded...
First Amelia's voice was actually kind of annoying, but...
I actually can't remember what her first voice was.
I remember original Rezo's voice, and then when it changed, and he was like, "Here I am," I was like, "Who? Who are you?" Oh shit! You're not whispering at me anymore, weird mage.
I'm still happy that the first thing I thought, the first thing that hit me when watching the first episode was Brock.
Yep.
Like that's the first thing that I was like,
it's the first thing that hits literally everyone.
Yeah, it's either Brock or it's recognizing Lisa Ortiz. Because she, like, if you listen to, like, old, like, adventure era, like, Sonic games.
Fun?
Sure.
Amelia's voice actress voices Ash, or did for a good while.
Oh, wait, was it Veronica Taylor?
Veronica Taylor,
Yes,
yeah,
it was Veronica Taylor.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Who I just heard Hot and Fresh in 13 Sentinels, where she did amazing. Amazing.
Yeah,
But,
the main cast all has, like, pretty well-known, very solid voice actors, at the very least. Except for Sylphil.
you really fucking hate Sophil.
If she would stop
she's
whispering,
awful.
then maybe we could say nice things. But until she stops speaking like this, I have nothing good to say.
I mean, the issue was she couldn't express herself for shit. It was bad.
Everything was so wispy.
It wispy, but also, like, lacking emotion. Like, it
So
never really get it out.
It's like when you watch any like Mean Girls style movie and like somebody's doing something terrible and the girl that hates her is just like, "Oh no, please don't do that." Like that's her.
But it speaks to how good this anime is that despite some of our criticisms of it, it's still something that you'd want to go back and watch or at least finish the season.
For sure.
Oh yeah, I know. I fully personally intend to fucking watch next try Revolution and Evolution R.
Me too. I fully plan to dive deeper into this.
Yeah.
Not touching the game though.
Yeah, the SNES game sucks.
Yeah, not touching
It's
that.
real
The
bad.
best game was an excuse, and you
I
fucking
learned-
know it.
Oh, I know. That was 100%.
It was a means to an end. You had to
Yeah.
suffer so that you could shine.
Yeah,
I
that
learned after playing Magic Knight Rare, like, I'll stick with Pretty Guardian, Sailor Moon, and Other Story in terms of SNES anime RPGs.
yeah, that's why you play. If you want rare stuff, you play the Saturn game.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I would say my findings on it are this is a really good anime. It's definitely worth watching. If anything, to see kind of like a lot of origins of the more common tropes in anime nowadays. Because this is very clearly a huge inspiration to a lot of anime.
Well, I have to ask, do they still do this stuff?
Yeah. Tails has been doing this for like...
What, make good anime?
Well,
I don't know about that.
There's no good anime. This is the last good anime to ever be made.
If you mean like in terms of like fantasy tropes like this, I would say Namco Bandai has been making bank off of this for the past 25 years now.
yeah, but like humorous, goofy anime, like they did a Fooly Cooly reboot. It was joyless.
I didn't see it. It was really that bad.
I mean, I will
Me
still
neither.
stand by Konosuba, but
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
Konosuba's good.
they exist. It's just time moved on. Like I don't
Yeah,
think they
it's-
make them like this. Usually, if they're gonna do something like this, they try and make more fun of certain other tropes.
There has been this massive deluge of self-insert crap, and it's been fucking miserable.
Yeah, it, at least from a outside viewer's perspective, it does seem like there is a lack of just basic fantasy fun kind of things. Usually if they do something like this, it's something like an isekai, which also has its own share of like, they're not edge, but it has its like things that it makes fun of.
I will tell you now, there are two flavors of fantasy isekai. There is the everything is in service to the main character and they're great at everything, or massive weird revenge fantasy that is absolutely disgusting.
Yep.
Yeah, also, yeah, that's another thing that is that since it does see, I don't know how to finish that thought. I just think Goblin Slayer sucks.
Well,
I was gonna
say the closest I could think of is like Overlord has some humorous moments in it with the other characters, but Overlord has it's a very modern anime, so it's kind of got the problem where it's got good direction and the characters are animated quickly, but it's out of this squash and stretch era, because Slayers, they're more than happy to get cartoony and contort the characters and make poses, and I think that really fell out of style because you don't see that kind of stuff in anime anymore. The characters are very stiff, and they may bounce or get weird sound effects in the background or maybe flail very quickly, but they don't do any of this distorting anymore.
I would say something like, I think Torpid had it right with Konosuba in terms of that.
Konosuba does have, well, the thing I would say about Konosuba is that basically Konosuba is the Slayers if it also had like teen humor, haha, steals panties jokes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it was just taking a look at the fantasy things, Konosuba would be at 100%. But it also makes it has the, it's also trying to ape on the like hot, like there's too many sex jokes in Konosuba for it to be like this.
There you go.
Yeah, and I would argue Konosuba's thing is that everyone is fucking awful. All of them.
That part of Konosuba.
And that is the contrast to this, I would argue, is that all these characters are good-ish people.
True. In terms of animation, though, and like just distorting characters, I would say I feel like they do that a decent amount in Konosuba animation.
I've seen it in a number of shows, but also depends upon largely the kind of show it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Very much so.
like the budget kind of depends. Like there is a different type of low budget now from what I've seen of modern stuff.
True.
Like,
yeah, there's I remember watching Rock Lee and his ninja friends, and the joke being about the budget half the time.
I would say the infamous cabbage in that one anime where it was in the TV one where it was literally just a green sphere, and in the DVD it was actually like drawn to look like a head of cabbage, something like that.
Yeah, no, low budget anime exists forever. Also, one complaint I have about this is fuck TV Tokyo. Like, suck so bad.
Yeah. I feel like towards the end of this series is that the animation errors start to get a lot more apparent.
Yeah, I mean, the audio
once
cut
again,
out.
The light in Gaori's sword fleeing it. So the audio thing was an issue of more than recording.
Yeah,
the Gaori's light thing was a
That was a
legitimate
whole
problem.
That was an issue.
Yeah, that you can. That is not a mastering issue. That is they screwed up.
And it comes in at such a crucial moment where you're like glued to the screen.
It's a big dramatic moment.
You're like,
And
oh
all of a
shit, he's about to swing his sword. Wait, what's happening?
Yeah, that light source is leaving the lines.
No, I need you to stay. You're about to do something
Light
cool.
go forth.
I didn't know that's how the Sword of Justice functioned.
I also like that throughout the series, Lena's trying to get the sword.
Yeah,
Repeatedly,
And then she gets her
every
own
time
sword.
she tries to con Gaori out of it.
and then she got the Soul Calibur.
And she's
Even
like,
though-
I don't need this sword anymore.
Even goes
So-
so far as to try to gaslight him by telling him that he definitely promised her the sword, even though he
Yeah.
absolutely did not.
I love when he threw her the sword and she was like, what's this for? Are you giving... No. Oh, why? Get this out of my
Look,
face.
She has a love for rare and powerful objects. I can respect that.
I can respect that too.
But also, yeah, no, she just kind of gave up the blessed blade. She just fucking stabbed Not Reza with it and left it in the tree.
Well, sword doesn't literally emit light. I'll just keep trying to get
To be fair,
Yaris.
that thing looked like it was incredibly bulky and like cumbersome.
wasn't
It was
about
like a giant slab of metal, yeah.
She wasn't about to carry that around. She should have like 2-beat it and just like cast levitate, let it flip behind her.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder.
Pretty much.
At this point, does anyone have anything else to say? Because I think we've kind of run the course.
I mean, you thought we
Watch
were only
Slayers.
going to have like 5 minutes worth of content.
I need to stop saying that. because-
The only last thing I would have to say to anybody is honestly, I would say go back and watch Slayers. Like if you're looking for an into anime, if you want to just look back to see like why people liked anime back in the day, or really what like grasped them and got them into it, go back and watch Slayers and you'll understand.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
everyone knows like Sailor Moon and the like, but Slayers
Sailor
is one
Moon,
of those things that
Dragon
just
Ball.
tends to be less talked about.
I feel
Oh,
like
for sure.
Slayers. No, go ahead, Raffer.
I was gonna say, like, definitely seconded. Like, if you were like, this Slayers is when people were talking about Anime Club and what they were watching in the '90s and the weird, crazy imports. Because I watched this like imported before it was even like, subbed or dubbed, and it was like when people were talking about that old school. This is what they're talking about. This is the goofy tropes. The someone says something and somebody face plants. The characters doing over the top. It's rendered both relatively realistically because they're not cartoony like a Steven Universe, but they're also like still exaggerated. So it's in that weird middle ground that anime used to be in. And if you want to see what the cream of the old school anime and what people are talking about, Slayers is definitely it. It's accessible, it's fun, it's a minimum of the problematic. It's aged reasonably well. Go see it.
I mean, we talk about a lot of different anime being like good starting points, Cowboy Bebop and Sailor Moon, things like that. I think Slayers is a lot more accessible as a starter anime than any of the other anime I've seen personally.
oh yeah.
I think this is a really great point to kind of like if someone were to ask me, what's anime, I would show them to this first, and I actually like Cowboy Bebop a lot more, but this is definitely something that I would introduce somebody to because it doesn't have any of the problems that you find in a lot of modern anime. It doesn't have anything creepy. It doesn't have anything like super weird. It's just it's dopey. It's fun, and in spite of some of its shortcomings, it still comes off as a really good anime.
I want to emphasize it's brisk, even though there is a story arc that goes through the whole thing. This isn't like as exhausting as like you tune into Dragon Ball. It's like, oh my god, are they still doing this tournament arc? Or oh my god, have they still not found Majin Buu yet? Or One Piece, which I know a lot of people love One Piece, but One Piece is just it's so long and just so exhausting. You can watch Slayers, and they have a lot of bottle episodes, and even then it's pretty short. So it's accessible. Yeah. You can just enjoy it.
Like even arc ends are like 2, maybe 3 episodes at most. But yeah, no. I will say also, just to compare, like Cowboy Bebop generally trends towards the heavy, whereas this is usually pretty lighthearted. And
yeah,
I would,
true.
So like, know your audience, but also, yeah.
The comparison that I was thinking of, just kind of looking, because I had the Media Delta list up, it's kind of like if you want to get someone into action movies, you wouldn't start them with Heat, because Heat's a very, very good action movie, but you start them off with something like Die Hard, which is it's a lot more condensed, it's a lot easier to watch. And then it's like, okay, if you like this kind of movie, then move on to like more, or like starting off with something like, oh, I don't know, The Raid, or something that's like really like a lot more like, I don't want to say like auteur, but like more higher brow, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, I'm emphasizing like accessibility. Like a lot of these anime, like as much as we love Record of Lotus War opens with an introduction to a gazillion characters, and then pretty much every episode is building up that there's going to be a big giant war thing near the end. Whereas Slayers like introduces the characters over time, and like we keep saying, like bottle episodes, it doesn't feel as exhausting or as daunting. So I wouldn't necessarily say highbrow so much as in like it's designed to be accessible. Is the word I keep using. You can get in and get out.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Okay. At this point, does anyone have anything else they want to add?
No, it's great. Go watch it.
Okay.
Lolo is a huge nerd. Okay, I'm good.
That doesn't. You don't need to say that. That's already given.
Heat is to Lolo as contact is to.
Okay.
Now it just comes down to whether we put this fucker.
Yeah, because we got to rank this. So we are going to rank this using our
Oh no!
1 to 21
Another
scale. We're going to use the 1 to 21 scale. 1 is absolute Mastercraft can't be really. It has very few things that could make it better, or is like the best of a genre. The 21 being absolute garbage, not even like ironically fun to watch. So Axe, where would you put this on the 1 to 21 scale?
I'm agonizing over this because honestly, I like this more than Vampire Hunter D, and I could not argue putting it on the same line as Red Line. So I'm gonna go for the gold and say 2.
See, this is the thing that I'm curious about. Donut.
This is where it fucking falls apart, folks.
Oh goodness. Oh, where I want to rank this? What'd you rank it, X?
I went with 2.
2. Well, that's pretty much what I was going to give it. I was going to give it a 2.
All right, Rafferty.
Man, I can't give it a 1 because there are like production problems, like the voice actors changing and the quality of the transfer. You know, this isn't getting the Dragon Ball Kai treatment. They're not, jazzing it up. And I was thinking, no, I gotta put it at 2 because I would have to say, like, I want everybody to see this. I think this is underappreciated. I stand by what I said last week, which is we should have had this instead of Escaflowne.
All right,
Yes.
Torpo.
Oh boy, I feel weird because I was gonna say a 3.
Okay,
Fucking
I was
treason.
we are not getting a Yahtzee. Is essentially what I'm.
I was like, I would put it next to Dirty Pair. So like, fucking A.
Yeah. So I was also thinking 2.
Motherfucker.
The cheese stays alone, bitch.
Why am I the weird one?
It's okay.
At least it was
well,
close.
okay,
We've
I
had
should-
ones where it hasn't even been close.
Okay, I was thinking somewhere like in the top 3 because really like it's kind of the thing that's like the Addams Family where like this. I mean, obviously this one we had some issues, but it's like I really can't say anything bad about it. Like I didn't have anything that I could like concretely say I don't like because even like we mentioned Sylphie like a lot, but even then it's like that's just part of it, and it's like okay, even though this character is complete garbage, it doesn't really ruin the experience that much because it's just part of the ride. Like it's part of the reason why I like this. Like we got mentioned before, this feels to me like a TurboGrafx CD game put into animation. Like the ones that are like the ones that are like actually surprisingly good, like East 4. It's like really good for like something that is like on a platform that's generally considered not great. But its like weird cheesiness is actually part of the charm. Like this is really good.
It's a relic, and it's really.
Did you bring up Popful Mail last week?
I believe we did, but
Yes.
Because Popful Mail would be the
100%
first
yes.
thing I compare it to.
I would say this is better than Popful Mail because this wasn't done by Working Designs. This has a lot less.
Doesn't casually drop a slur. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I was about
doesn't.
to
No,
say.
it doesn't. It doesn't drop a certain ableist slur a lot. Well, like 3 times, but still, that's
a
3 too
lot.
many. That's 3 too many. But yeah, it's just really good. Like, and even like we mentioned, like even the problem, like the quote unquote problematic stuff in this is relatively tame.
And as far as when we say problematic, we don't mean problematic as in slurs. It's just
No,
production issues and things like that. It's
But
But also
tame
like
shit.
slightly questionable decisions, but
like
yeah.
the only thing that I think of, it's like Lena being slightly like she's young.
She's 15.
There was no reason to draw the outline on the nipples.
Oh
that
yeah,
one
that
scene.
was
That was a
weird. What's
weird
with all those
thing, too.
nipples?
Is when she was on the ground after getting murdered. They were just like very detailed nips in her fucking
Like, why are your
clothes.
dead nipples so hard, girl? Is it cold? This is too much.
See,
Yeah, that was the weird direction. Thank you for reminding me of that. But I mean, like this isn't as problematic as Dragon Ball.
oh yeah, yeah. Like even that,
No.
it's like it's just weird. It's not
Hey,
like like okay, I guess you're just gonna draw that, and like you're not gonna like gloss over. That's something that you're watching. It's like, huh? I guess that's there.
It's even less problematic than Sailor Moon because they didn't age up her boyfriend for no fucking reason.
Ah, yes, cousins.
Or, that's with Clover Studio. We gotta blame them for that. But I just don't understand why in the original version of, the Sailor Moon anime, why is her boyfriend like 18? He wasn't that old in the manga.
I
He
mean,
was like maybe a year older than her.
I just love the cousins thing because it actually makes it
Cousins.
infinitely worse.
So much worse. You
They
could have
come
just
from
said they
the-
were roommates.
They come from the Edgar Allan Poe universe. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Or how about how
It's totally
they
fine.
made that nice gay evil man in season 1 a lady because they didn't want him being gay for children in America.
The gays are they're dangerous. You got to be careful of the gays.
I mean, Sailor Moon is pretty notorious for its evil gays.
I
It's
think we're
also got
putting,
its gay heroes, so.
I think we're putting it this at 2.
It's always weird to me
True.
knowing that the Sailor Moon lady is married to the dude who did Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter.
Right? Can you imagine how much money? Mm.
That
Either way,
yep. We're
Number 2.
just gonna put this at 2. We're not.
yeah, I'm not gonna
done.
fight it too.
So what episode?
And again, like you're only off by like 1.
Yeah,
we've had
no,
episodes
like-
where we've been way the fuck off.
Yeah,
on our
no,
Yeah.
because like in my opinion, I saw is like Slayers is like on par with Dirty Pair, sure.
Yeah, like they're like yeah. Oh, I'm gonna fill that out later. This was a TV show.
I got no complaints with the two.
This is fantasy.
It's no Tron.
We're gonna get to
Forever
that.
bearing the grudge.
Give 2 weeks. We're gonna get to that.
Sitting pretty at number 7.
Yeah. Okay, where's
Right
the
below.
where's the
trash?
where's the elf ears guy? Okay, where are you? There you are. Okay. All right.
Oh, that's what that's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, when you're using letters and characters, you don't have a whole lot to work with.
What a fucked up looking bird.
Ovo.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
What's
this?
this? What's this?
Let's
Flashing
see.
lights though.
Oh,
Put that in
yep,
the
yep, yep,
content. There's
yep.
a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of flashing lights.
Oh, yeah, millions of flashing lights.
Let's see. Is there anything?
The intro actually gives me slight headaches.
It's certainly
Some
not
of
as
the-
bad as Cyberpunk 2077, but
Oh,
still,
God,
yes.
Yeah, that's.
Wow, way to go for the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
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 Just grabbed it right there.
Right for the
Way to
canaries.
date the episode.
We mentioned the Yu Yu Hakusho live action thing. We've already.
We did. We've already did.
It's
it.
true,
not
but nobody
seen that.
reacted to me saying that.
I don't have a reaction to that. That's the
Yeah,
I
thing.
reacted in my heart.
I just remember my favorite thing about Yu Yu Hakusho is taking a look at. I saw the guy with the red hair swinging a sword. I'm like, oh, is this an Ys anime? And then I found there was an Ys anime. And then,
There is. Oh, God.
Yes.
God, I also kind of just want to watch Dirty Pair now. Fuck.
I mean, Dirty Pair's just really good. Anyway,
It's
is there
okay,
any
I'm gonna-
Did we review the East anime?
a long time ago? But yes.
Oh, okay.
Fucking ages ago. It was one of the first ones.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, there it is. East and East 2.
Is there anything we want to call out for music, charm, cinematography, storytelling,
definitely.
action,
Charm.
and art?
I would say charm and storytelling, personally.
Yeah, charm
Yeah, charm.
storytelling.
Sure. I think the
Super
music's
Six
also
stylish.
really like those. The opening.
The intro and ending are really good, but the actual music in this show is.
I
It's
don't
there.
remember it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty throwaway.
I still think that the
No,
opening-
I like the music, but this is definitely like generic like music. You would not recognize this from any anime.
But just once again, though, the intro and ending, oof, so good. Especially the ending. I really like the ending.
Chef kiss.
yes.
I like that the voice actress sings the intro.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Megumi
Lena's voice actress sings
Hayashibara.
the intro.
I think I
Yeah,
screwed up that last
Lena,
name.
Lena's voice actress sings the intro, not the ending, but she does sing the opening.
Action. Do we want to give anything? Like, I don't think there was any particularly like great fights.
No,
the
it's
action
a
sequences
lot
are
of
really all that. nothing I would shout out.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of speed lines and people being stuck next to each other.
That
Explosions happen and stuff.
The explosions are fun, but I hesitate to call those action because they're usually the ending, not the beginning.
Yeah.
that being said, do we want to give a thumbs down to the art?
No.
No.
Uh,
Okay.
No.
Any
The actual
problems?
character designs in
Oh,
everything
yeah,
are
in that
actually
case.
really good.
I
will
would give it a
fight
thumbs
you
up.
on that.
Well, what about the cinema? Because I was thinking of like the low quality animation. Would that be more of a cinematography thing?
I was gonna say that'd be more like cinematography or action. Either would work for me. But
And I don't even think it's a thumbs down thing because they're working on a shoestring budget here, but there's
It's-
nothing in here that like you point at and
no,
go,
yeah,
that looks
it's generally pretty solid. It's just, especially near the end, we got some weird issues, but overall it was fine.
Yeah.
And-
Like it's not like it was errors constantly or anything.
And as we pointed out, it's these little issues here and there, they add to the charm of the show. At no point do any of the problems feel like takeaways. Like, again, going back to Pirates of Darkwater, a lot of the animation problems really took away from the enjoyment. Because I remember after the 6-episode arc, we all kind of were like, yeah, this isn't that great.
Yeah,
because of the
it's-
animation issues.
Literally the only ones we met, like I at least saw, were like 2 of them at the end, and it's only because they were so egregious. But like I never noticed or even cared to notice previously.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. They
Yeah.
did what they could with what they had, which wasn't much.
Yeah. I think in that case, then we can leave the rest kind of blank. Yays or nays? Just
Yeah,
plain
you gotta
cool for, I was thinking, well, do we want
Not really.
to? Yeah,
I want to
actually.
say length. I think
Yep.
that the pacing in this is fucking fantastic.
The 26 episode format really is the 26 episodes. The fact that it's only 26 episodes is something I do feel
Okay.
help it.
So you do have a charm for artistry, which is taste the budget, which I could actually almost agree with, but fucking crushing my nuts, Lolo.
Yeah, I definitely think the length. I mean, I would also put, man, I want to say like either time capsule or like if you wanted to understand. Hello.
Thank you, Craig.
Are we having problems?
Yes.
Don't draw attention to it. Just don't talk about it. Ah,
So-
Wreckford.
I'm using
I
backup.
would-
Go ahead.
So I
Okay,
mean,
we
I
can
would
continue.
just suggest that like if you were wanting to see what anime was or the history of anime, Slayers I think is like obligatory. Like, do you have something that's like, if you want to know what anime is or canon or whatever, you should see this.
Yeah,
like a
I
Cowboy
feel like-
Bebop.
There should be a charm for like influential.
Yeah, do we have a milestone or something like that?
Or
I think
noteworthy?
we do. It was
It was
You
either
can
a
have a
milestone
light
or
bulb
we
a
have
in your
among
ear.
the best in for the charms, but historic moment. Yeah,
Lightbulb
Yeah.
was unique ideas, but not very
Yeah.
well executed.
yeah. We have one in for the charm. Yay, the Yays that was
Oh yeah, it's
historic.
metal, isn't it?
Yeah, a metal historic moment, which I feel.
Okay. Yeah, I would do that because this is one of those things like I joke like Citizen Kane where you watch it and you go, I don't want to see what all the hype was about, but it's like no, everyone's ripping this off.
So
Except-
that's the thing. Like, I found that's actually one of the nice things about this is like people were still enjoying it even with like the Seinfeld effect in full effect.
And unlike Citizen Kane, this is actually fun to watch.
Yeah.
Hate Citizen Kane.
So it says a lot that even with its age and how influential it was and how much things have riffed on it, that it's still actually just fun
And
to
it
watch.
and it doesn't suffer from the Seinfeld effect. It still feels like a fresh
Yeah.
and original idea.
Yeah,
At least it felt that way to me.
it helps the fact that there's not really a whole lot of individual moments in the show. It's not like The Matrix where you have something like it's trying to mimic like those bullet time effects. There's a lot of things that this show influenced, but it's a lot more subtle ways. So you'll have things that like are influenced by the Slayers, but they're not super like, okay, you're ripping this shot off from The Matrix. You're not doing like the slow dive, or like you're not
So-
like redoing how like Saving Private Ryan did the D-Day scene.
A thing I will say is part of what helped the age is that the things that it makes fun of and sort of rips on when it does, people are still fucking doing and have never stopped doing. So like it's aged well because people are making the same like tropes, mistakes, whatever you want to call it. And so it helps the humor age actually a lot better otherwise than it would otherwise.
And when I talk about the heart this has, and a lot of anime, especially ones that are too many episodes for their budget, they'll have the money episodes where they obviously put money into like the fight scenes and that kind of stuff, and then the cheaper episodes where they're saving money, the flashback episodes, the talkie episodes, the B and C string studio episodes. And that still happened with Slayers, but they didn't. You don't notice it as much because they didn't slack off. They kept a very good pace. They kept
a pretty even spread,
direction. Yeah. So you're not seeing those kinds of tricks. Like the biggest abuser I can always think of is dot hack sign, where you can like feel the lack of money on screen or the laziness on screen. And there's a lot of other anime that are like that. There's none of those slow dolly shots of people talking or their mouths on screen where they dump a lot of lore. That never happens. This is always a joy to experience.
I just like that.
And even when they're expositing, things are always happening.
I'm just so happy that Lolo expected this to be an extremely short episode. We've gone on for
Famous
a fucking hour.
last goddamn words.
It's been a fucking hour.
Great job,
It's been like an
Lolo.
hour and a half.
It
Yeah.
really has.
And I'm especially elated
Actually, it's
that
only-
we've kept up the tradition of going way longer on the fucking
Actually, it's only been an hour and 10 minutes.
It's
Yeah,
still
okay.
still way longer than I
Yeah, it's
actually thought we
longer
were
than I
gonna
was expecting it to be.
do. But no, this,
Regardless, though, I think we're pretty set at this point.
Yeah. Unless anyone
we're
had-
kind of spinning our wheels talking about how good it is.
Yes. Go watch the Slayers.
And honestly, once again, I need to say this. Like, in my opinion, it only gets better.
That is true. So with that, okay, yeah, that's the Slayers. It's a very good show. So with that, before we go, is there anything, Axel, you want to plug?
Nope.
Donut, is there anything you want to plug?
Just myself. Hi, I'm Donut Secret. You can follow me on Twitter, Donut_Secret, where you can check out links for streams and podcasts.
All right, Rafferty.
Well, I work for sanguinegames.com, and people know that we were highly inspired when we made our Iron Claw product. So if you like tabletop games and you like silly stuff, check it out.
Turbo.
Twitch.tv/Torpotypist, not Torpotypist on Twitter. And I would like to plug the gaping hole left in my town by a dragon slave.
Great. Okay. So with that, next week we are wrapping up our look at holiday themed stuff. We're going to do something a little interesting because the next thing we're going to watch is actually relatively short. So we're going to actually do a live viewing of our next thing that we're taking a look at, which is the special Christmas episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Christmas Blast.
It'll be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. So look forward to that. Anyway, that's going to do it. So, thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Have a wonderful time.
If you would like to look at the full list of rankings for yourself, please visit r3.ldp.life and go to the Media Delta List tab. If you would like to watch Media Delta's sister show, Retro Rank Rhapsody, you can either watch at youtube.ldp.life or by tuning into twitch.tv/LoadUpPuzzlo at 7:30 p.m. on Fridays, 2:30 p.m. on Saturdays, and 1 p.m. on Sundays. All those times are from the Eastern U.S. time zone. If you would like to discuss this episode with the community, you can do so by joining our Discord server, which you can do so by going to discord.ldp.life. Thank you again for listening, and I hope you tune in for our next episode.